Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
And welcome to this week's edition of Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rantz alongside a couple of special guests we'll have for you today. Later on in the show, Anthony Ranaudo, the former LSU and Major League Baseball pitcher, will be with us. And right now, joining us is a guy who knows a lot about playing in big football games. He just was down at one last week in New Orleans. Drew Alleman, former LSU kicker. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Ronnie. Appreciate you having me on the show.
What a great time for all former, LSU alumni, but especially those that played football. I saw a bunch of your former teammates on that 11 SEC championship team from 2011. I saw a bunch of guys on the 03 and 07 national championship teams down in New Orleans. What was that whole weekend experience like?
It was incredible. You know, I got the opportunity to go to the playoff game over in Atlanta, and just watching that team destroy Oklahoma was incredible. And then going back down to New Orleans, which is the place that in 2011 that, you know, our dreams kind of died when we had to face Alabama again. But just to see this team be able to pull through and just, crush Clemson. Actually, we lost to Clemson my senior year in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. In 2012 on a last-second field goal. But just to see them this whole season, just the way they played, even after the Auburn game, which was the closest game all season, they got stronger. And then after that Alabama win, they just got stronger and continued to grow. And it was an incredible season to watch. It
seemed like they exercised some demons, right? For the guys that were on the 2011 team, you know, the Superdome was the site of tremendous heartbreak, controversy. You know, all well documented LSU struggles in 11, but this year, the success that LSU had against Clemson in the Superdome to win the national championship and cap off an undefeated season, it kind of helps go into that building and feel differently, right?
For sure, absolutely. And that was a tough loss that we had. You know, it was an incredible season in 2011. At that point in time, probably one of the best college football teams, especially defensive wise. We were incredible that year. That took the field. And it was just an incredible season in 2011, but this season definitely topped it because they were able to finish. They were able to bring home the national championship, and it was just sweet to watch, go back into that stadium and watch them finish the job that we were shooting for in 2011.
And in 11, and I want to have you comment, you know, place kicker for that 2011 team, you made about 88% of your field goals during the regular season. You had Brad Wing, of course, who kicked in the NFL, and there's a legendary punter for LSU. So y'all really had it going on that year. This year, you had another lefty punter in Zach Von Rosenberg, and you had a young freshman in Cade York who many think will possibly be the greatest kicker ever to come out of LSU by the time things are all said and done. What did you think of those two guys, particularly York?
Absolutely. Zach's a great guy. He's my age. He's been around been around for a long time. Right. Strong punter. He had a great season. And Cade obviously had a couple hiccups, but you expect that from a freshman kicker. Kicking in a big environment, coming out of high school, kicking, at LSU Tiger Stadium, and then the SEC, very loud, stadiums that he's kicked in. And he had a good season as a freshman kicker, and I think he's going to grow on this. Even though he may had a couple hiccups, you expect that from a freshman kicker mentally. He's overcoming some mental challenges this year, and, I think he will be a phenomenal kicker because he's got 3 more years to grow on a great freshman season.
You had a chance when you came out of Acadiana High in Lafayette, where you won a state championship, to redshirt, to kind of sit, buy your time, get some experience before you started your last 2 years. York is kicking right now. He's a freshman, right? He's learning where all the buildings are on campus, and next thing you know, he's kicking in front of 100,000 on Saturday. Talk about how tough that is, and I can't even imagine. I'm sure you think to yourself, I don't know if I would have been able to do that.
So they actually recruited me coming out. I actually came into LSU early. I came in January before I even graduated high school, which was awesome for me because I got to, step on. I think he came in, if I'm not mistaken, in the summer.
Yeah, in the summer, yeah.
A couple months later, he's kicking in his first game. I did get the opportunity to redshirt my first year, and what was good for me was I came in as a punter, and so my redshirt freshman year, my sophomore year, I got to play in a couple games as a punter. And I was nervous for my first punt. I think I punted it like 20 yards because I had the jitters,
Right.
But that helped me, going into as a redshirt junior, kicking my first field goal against, I remember it today, against Oregon. It was like 42 yards. But I was thankful that I had the opportunity to step on the field in some non-conference games as a punter. And so I can't even imagine going in there as a freshman 2 months after you enroll in the university. He's definitely was nervous, and he did one heck of a job.
As a guy who did both, which is harder, punting or kicking field goals?
I think it's two totally different fundamentals. As a kicker, as a place kicker, your operation is with the snapper and the holder, so it's not just solely on you. As a punter, everything's on you, right? Obviously, when you catch the snap, it's all about the drop. But then again, you got a lot of other factors that come into punting. If it's windy, you got your drop can be blown off. So it's two totally different deals. Obviously, if you get a bad snap and a bad hold as a kicker, and you miss the field goal and they don't see that, it's pretty much on you because you missed the field goal. So they're pretty separate. But I think maybe punting is tougher, and that's why you get paid a lot more money to be a punter in the NFL.
This season, going into this year, there was expectations. We knew this had a chance to be a good LSU football team. We didn't know it was going to be the greatest college football team ever to live in 150 years of the sport. But when did you first realize, oh, wow, there's something different about this team from a former player standpoint?
For sure. I think, whenever you watch the Texas game, I think the way it was kind of back and forth for a period of time and going into a hostile environment in Texas and, obviously in the state of Texas Longhorns, they live for that, right? And I think whenever you watch that game and you saw the way our kids bounced back and the way they played in that game, the first test of the season was incredible. But then if you fast forward to the Auburn game, even at home, they went through some adversity. And Auburn is a phenomenal team. They're a top-ranked team. In my opinion, they're probably the fourth best team in the nation. Good thing that we didn't have to face them again. But once again, I think those two games was the pivotal moment. And then obviously everyone's going to look at the Alabama game, and they're going to see what we did in the Alabama game, going into Alabama after, since 2011 not beating them, seeing how they came out and pretty much manhandled them in the first half was just incredible.
Yeah, even though Texas ended up not having the team that we thought they would have, they still, had a winning record, played in a bowl game, and won a bowl game. That Texas there at that time was a top 10 matchup. Unbelievable hostile environment. I remember walking to the game to go work for CST, and I didn't see tickets for sale. Normally you see people scalping tickets outside the stadium, and there just really weren't.
Yeah.
So I can tell you next year, even though LSU plays Alabama at home, the toughest ticket is going to be that Texas ticket, the second game of the year or whatever, especially with all those Texas folks with a lot of money and a huge following coming to Baton Rouge. They don't do it hardly ever. So, this is going to be, next year is going to be the toughest ticket. So if you get a chance to get a ticket, get it now,
for sure.
And lock yourself up for that game because it is going to be epic early on in September. I thought it felt different, right? Because LSU kept their foot on their throat. They kept attacking. They never got passive. They never just took the 3 and out, punt it, move the field approach. They always were going for it, and that was something we had never seen before at LSU, and that really set the tone. Like, wow, this is going to be a little bit different. Before we continue talking about this year's team, I want to go back a little bit to your time at LSU. Yep. You played with so many great players. But I want to talk about Les Miles. He's coaching at Kansas after a couple of year hiatus. First off, were you surprised he got back into coaching? Did you think he was done?
No, I figured he was going to get back into it. He loved the game so much, and the players loved him. Whenever he coached at LSU, players absolutely loved Coach Miles. And I figured he was going to get back into football. I think he was just waiting for the right opportunity. And when the Kansas job arose and they came after him, I knew he missed it. After seeing him a couple times after, he was kind of just hanging out in Baton Rouge doing his acting career and all that type of stuff. After talking to him, I figured he was going to get back into coaching.
You mentioned that players love him. The highest form of flattery is impersonation. Skip Bertman, a lot of former players can do a Skip impersonation. Obviously, Paul Manera, any legendary coach, and you spend a lot of time with them, guys will kind of do impersonations. Les is a little different. He's a little harder. Sure. You can physically do him with the clapping or wear the hat or whatever, but of the former players you had, who did the best impression?
We did a skit my senior year. I don't know if you've seen it, but we did a skit as the kickers came together and did like what do kickers do during practice, and it's like a video. I think it may still be on YouTube. But we had part of that skit was the kickers in our special teams room, and Coach and Seth Frugier was doing a Les Miles impersonation of our pregame. Before we left the hotel, went to the game. Coach Miles would get the team together, and he would always go through the game plan on a whiteboard. He had everything drawn out, and so we drew out everything on the whiteboard, and it was just kind of funny. And Seth was doing it, and every time he would start, he would always say "this day," and he would hit the whiteboard, and basically the whiteboard would like almost fall apart. And so it was pretty funny, and I think Seth did an awesome job.
Did Les like it?
Yeah, Les was dying laughing because we showed this was before the 2012 Chick-fil-A Bowl. We showed it as a team, and everybody was dying laughing because of just everything we did. It was all to make fun of kind of the coaching staff and kind of what we did during practice.
Yeah, he was definitely unique and one of a kind, and you know, obviously last summer he got inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in Natchitoches, and I think he really appreciated that, especially after being away-ish for a couple years with not being the coach at LSU. I think he was appreciative of that, and so I spent 3 days with him. And he's sometimes I'm not sure. What'd you say, Coach?
Yeah.
What'd you mean by that? But overall, you're telling me that the guys would run through a brick wall for him.
Absolutely, guys loved him. And what hindered him, in my opinion, was just the play calling, where
the stubbornness of the old offensive line coach.
Exactly,
huh?
And he wanted to call it. He wanted to run it his way, and I think if he'd still be here today if you brought in maybe like a Joe Brady or just let whoever it was.
Let Steve Ensminger call the plays.
We had great offensive coordinators, and he just wouldn't release that duty that he wanted to do. So,
but it's funny, as Jerry DiNardo, who after 3 straight bowl games in the mid-'90s, when he kind of looked like they brought the magic back, got things turned around at LSU, and then followed it up with 2 losing seasons and got replaced by Nick Saban. He looked back a few years later, not long after, maybe 3 years after being fired, and realized, publicly he said, the error of my ways was this, and this, and one of it being that micromanagement and not turning over responsibilities to their assistant coach and letting them coach and letting them do what they do best. And you wonder if Les, will admit that to himself or publicly one day that, man, it's got to be hard for him now to sit here and watch LSU and go, hey, these are the same kinds of players I had. Look what they're doing. And even to give him credit, Les at Kansas this year fired his offensive coordinator about 4 games in, went to a younger spread-oriented guy. They had some success offensively, although it didn't really correlate in the wins and losses. They did win a Big 12 game for the first time in a few years, and their offense was exciting. And it looks to me like Les is going with the times a little bit up there in Kansas. And as a former player, I'm sure you wish he'd have done that here, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so to have an offense like it was this season, I always said this whole season, I said, man, if the 11 team had this offense, that'd be an incredible season.
So there's nobody who's ever been at LSU that's like Joe Burrow. What we saw and what he is the Tom Brady of LSU football, and will be for a long period of time. Who was that guy in 11? Who was your rock star in 11?
Obviously, I think Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, wherever you were with him, it was in circus.
Absolutely, for sure. Everybody wanted his autograph. Obviously he went to the Heisman ceremony, didn't win it. It's tough as a defensive player to win it, but Joe Burrow was incredible season. Obviously capped it off with national championship, Heisman Trophy, graduated again.
Right.
So and just to see what he did in his 2-year period here was impressive. But in 11, Tyrann was definitely that guy.
You saw where Tyrann getting to go to the Super Bowl. What were your thoughts on that for the Chiefs?
Pretty neat for him. So he's an awesome player. He deserved it. Well deserved.
It's amazing. Pound for pound, maybe the best football player ever to play at LSU, and pound for pound, maybe one of the best to play in the NFL. It's incredible how small he is, but yet how physical and how he factors into the middle of everything. And that was never more evident than the AFC Championship game. He was all over the field the other day for the Chiefs.
Definitely. He's the honey badger is what they called him, and he really is. He gets what he wants. And so he was probably the best playmaker I've ever seen to ever play the game, even still today as a defensive. I mean, wherever the ball was at, he was around it.
And that's saying a lot. You play with Patrick Peterson, another great one.
Absolutely. And he's great at itself of covering, a wide receiver. But to watch Tyrann do what he did, and wherever the ball was at, you were going to see his number there, and then the ball was coming out some kind of way. So it was incredible.
Drew Alleman, former 2011 SEC championship kicker. He kicked again in 2012, and right here lives in Baton Rouge, makes his residence in Baton Rouge, and works here, and been following LSU all season long. We'll take a break. When we come back after the commercial, we'll play that famous clip of Drew kicking that winning field goal against the Alabama Crimson Tide to beat them the game of the century, Part 1. We'll tell you about that, how that changed his life when we return.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBear's Casino. He's Drew Alleman, former LSU kicker in 2011, 2012. Played the national championship game over in the Dome. We'll have Anthony Ranaudo on in a little bit later to talk LSU football and all the craziness that's going on in Major League Baseball. But of course, who could forget Drew's big moment back in 2011 when LSU won Game of the Century, Part 1, 9-6 over Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That vaulted LSU to the #1 spot in the country where they stayed the rest of the regular season. And, of course, it wasn't until this year that LSU beat Alabama for the first time in 8 years. This is the call from the famous Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame broadcaster Jim Hawthorne on that kick.
All right, for the win. Alamo, a 25-yarder. Alabama will be coming hard for this one. Snap, place, kick in the air. LSU wins. I can tell you for sure now, LSU wins. Alamo with a 25-yard field goal. And in overtime, the LSU Fighting Tigers. And I'll say it again.
You heard Jim say, I can tell you for sure, because they had called the timeout, right? You had made the kick. They had called the timeout. He thought it was good. But let's face it, it was a chip shot, right? You knew you had that one, right?
Yeah. We knew going out, me and Brad knew that Coach Saban was going to call a timeout. Mm-hmm. And so we still snapped it. I believe, I don't remember exactly. I believe I still kicked it. And we went back to the sideline, and Coach Miles was walking out to us, and I was laughing. They show a video clip because I was laughing. I was like, Coach, get the buses ready. We're about to win this game, and we're going to party on the way home. And he was kind of laughing back. And on the way back out to go kick it, Brad was already asking me, what do you want to do after we make the field goal? Like, do you want to go run to the other end of the stadium and celebrate? I said, yeah, let's just run all the way down and let the team chase us. And so they snapped it. We kicked it. It was a chip shot. We knew we were going to make it. It was 5 yards longer than an extra point. And so it was just a great time.
Yeah, the celebration is pretty epic nonetheless. you had mentioned last segment about this coach's video where right before the 2012 bowl game, the kickers got together, made a little spoof of Les Miles.
Exactly.
And Frugier, who was a big special teams guy back then, was kind of the Les Miles impersonator. Well, we found that clip on YouTube. It's about a 7-minute long video, but we're only going to show you about a minute or so of it. This is from, and you can kind of listen to it, and then we'll let you comment after.
Exactly.
This day, this is our lounge, men. Nobody else's. Weather, about 67 degrees set on the AC. It might get a little chilly. 2 miles an hour coming out the vents. Crowd noise, we're used to it. We deal with it week by week. ESPN Sports Center. It's always on the TV, and it's gonna be loud. Men, this is a specialist pool championship, just so you know. Key matchups of the day, you can see it on both sides. Both really strong players, and they're all going to play their hearts out today. But there can only be one championship match, one championship player, just so you know. And I know all these men, every one of them, no matter what phase you're in, will fight for victory today. Fight for victory. Yes! All right, let's break it down. Team on one! Team one! How about this? One! Team!
So Frugier, that was Frugier being Les Miles.
Yep, for sure.
And so Les would do that every week, kind of like walk you through the whole process?
Yeah, so every week before the game, right? Whether it was in hotel here, whether it was at away stadium hotel, before we'd leave to go to the stadium, he'd always gather the team and he would have a whiteboard drawn out of kind of what this day, and it always said this day. He always went through the weather. He always went through both sides, all phases of the team. And every time he thought was an important point, he would always hit the board. So when you see Seth hit the board, and he would love to say, just so you know, and he would say that almost after everything. And so we just kind of made a spoof of, the weather. He always went through the weather. He always tell you if it's rainy, not rainy, if it's windy. And so we were just making fun of, because we're inside.
Yeah,
so
thanks, Coach. We're in a dome.
Exactly.
Thanks for letting us know.
Exactly.
That's what he said. We got the temperature set at 67.
Yeah. And then at the end, whenever Coach Miles would always break it down, he would always call to break it down on something like win on 3, and he would always say win versus saying 1, 2, 3. And so we just made a whole spoof about that. So it was pretty funny.
Okay, the highest form of flattery is impersonation. I've always said that. Coaches sometimes if you get offended by that, that's your own fault, because players, if they are imitating you, that means they love and enjoy being around your company. I never thought I'd see a Heisman Trophy winner at LSU, right? Billy Cannon was this legendary figure, and here we are, a part of history.
Yeah, especially a quarterback, especially whenever I played. You're thinking this offense really isn't built for a quarterback to win a Heisman Trophy, and man, has the time changed here at LSU. And halfway through the season, you knew we got something special here with Joe Burrow, and you couldn't doubt. I mean, obviously the biggest landslide win of a Heisman Trophy winner. You couldn't doubt it. There was no question he was going to win it.
What do you in 2011? You made that kick. You played on that team. To this day, people still talk to you about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they realize, oh wait, you're the kicker on the game of the century and all that. It's that big of a deal for you guys, and quite frankly, you lost the national championship game. That team. If you win it, who knows, right?
Exactly.
But how has it changed your life? What doors does it open playing at LSU and being in a part of a big moment like that?
Absolutely. No, it's definitely, making a name for yourself. Obviously, there's 2 ways you can make a name for yourself. You can be a great player and then do bad things, or you can be a great player and do good things. Right. And LSU is that platform that, obviously opened a bunch of doors for me, especially in business. But once again, that season, the 2 questions I get asked was, what was it like when you kicked that field goal?
And what happened in the locker room
at halftime? So those are the 2 questions that I get asked all the time. And my answer to, obviously it was incredible to kick that winning field goal. My answer to the halftime question was, I have no idea because I wasn't in there. I'm always on the field warming up.
You don't really spend much time at all in
maybe
the
like
locker room?
the first 5 minutes in the locker room, then we kind of break out. We talk to our position coach, the offense, defense get together, and then we break out and we go, after the band's done, we go warm up during the halftime.
Yeah.
And so I'm out of there not really paying attention to what's going on. So
well, I can tell you, regardless of whatever it's taken on there's so many hypothetical what happened in the locker room. Trust me, it wasn't anything as great as you think.
Yeah.
In any locker room, when you're losing at halftime, there's frustration. There's players yelling at players, and oftentimes it is an offense versus defense. Something might happen where the defense yells, let's go offense, get it together, and somebody might take offense and they yell back. That is every locker room from junior high to the pros. But I do know that what happened in the Alabama locker room is that they were preparing for LSU to throw the football, for Jared Lee to come in the game, for the offense to change. They were talking about it. They were game planning about it, and it didn't happen.
Yep.
And they were shocked. And they were shocked that script was pretty much the same as the game 2 months earlier.
Exactly.
The play calls were pretty much the same. The formations were the same. They had actually prepared for all this other stuff, which they never saw. And, of course, they were more than happy for that to happen. But they were anticipating, and that came from the coaches over there personally to me. So, hey, it's one of those things. And quite frankly, the LSU win at Alabama, and I know, you're a part of the win side. But as a sideline reporter who was there 5 feet away from the field all game long, Alabama was, I thought a little better that day. They had over 100 yards of offense more. LSU was just, the Brad Wing punt was huge. The Reed interception. They missed some field goals. There was things that went LSU's way. They made some things happen and ended up eking out a victory. Exactly. But I thought Alabama might have probably pound for pound been a little bit better team that year. And it just showed up finally in the championship.
Exactly.
And I don't know if LSU should have made a quarterback change, because if you're not getting it done, make a change. Exactly. But I don't think it would have mattered. Yeah. I really don't.
No, for sure. And they kind of had our number that game. And I think what maybe caught them by surprise was in that first game was Jordan coming out. Obviously, we had some things go our way, just like you said. And the Brad Wing punt was a huge turning point. 70-something yards. Out of your back of your end zone, changes field position. The Reed intercepting on the 1 yard line, which is incredible. And then following that was the punt. But I think, we had some things go our way in that first game. Obviously, they had 7 shots at kicking a field goal, and only 2 of them went through. But I think when you come, what really in that first game was maybe they were not prepared for the Jordan Jefferson option, which really ate them apart in the first game, because they were prepared for. They shut down Jared Lee in our passing game and our run, power run game, but they were not going to lose again the same way. And we came in thinking that's how we beat them. Let's do it again. But you can beat Nick Saban one way, but you're not going to beat him the same way again, especially in the same season. And it's always hard to beat Nick Saban once, but to beat him twice is tough. And they had our number that game. They came out there with a better team that night, and it showed on the scoreboard at the end.
Well, it was. I remember my thought of the 2011 team you were on was what a magical season it was. It ended terribly in the Dome, but it was a great weekend. This time around in 2019, great weekend and great finish. Exactly. And this was. I don't think it's even close, right? That this is the best team ever to play.
It's for sure, 100%.
Because athletes get better, stronger, faster. Athletes are better now than they were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. For sure. And as much as we maybe don't want to admit that, it is the case.
It's the truth, yeah.
And this team
all around was incredible. Obviously, we know the defense struggled a tad bit, but they got that together immediately. I think after Ole Miss game, after that quarterback did what he did on us, defense came together and was like, we ain't letting this happen again. And ever since that game, defense stepped up and was incredible. And this is hands down the best team to ever take a football field in college.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us.
Yeah.
How about next year? Cade York will be back. That'll be outstanding.
Yeah.
And you could have a 30-year-old punter. If Zach Von Rosenberg's saying he's going to come back, he's going to turn 30 in September. How about that?
Yeah, so
how old are you?
I'm about to be 30 in April. So
yeah,
we're the
so
same
you're just a
age.
hair older than Zach, who will be punting. Can you even imagine?
I've been
crazy.
done for 8 years, so it's incredible.
That's incredible. Well, Drew, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Best of luck in everything you're doing, and we will see you soon. He's Drew Alleman. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll visit with former LSU and Major League pitcher Anthony Ranaudo. Talk a little LSU football and the craziness that's going on in MLB right now.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
And welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts, presented by LaBerge Casino. And I want to thank Drew Alleman, who joined us, former LSU kicker. And for any LSU alumni of any kind, it has been a magical week for the Tigers, culminated with the trip to the White House, the celebration, and the parade. But for those that were former players for LSU, even more special, especially if you're on that 11 team and things didn't go so well in the Dome. But joining us is a guy who one of his last couple years with the Tigers were pretty successful. Ended up in the College World Series twice while at LSU, won a national championship, finished your career over in California at that UCLA regional. Yeah. Who knew you were going against Trevor Bauer and Garrett Cole back then?
That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, and we didn't even know Bauer was who he was. You know, I mean, he was just starting to create a little buzz for himself out there, and they were like, he was a little quirky guy. You know, some information about him was coming out about his video stuff. Now look at him, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, it was a crazy college career.
I remember being out there covering that regional for the
Jumbo Sports Network.
Yeah, we actually televised all those games, and I remember Garrett Cole. I think was a freshman that year. Freshman or sophomore?
He was a sophomore. They were both sophomores that year.
Is that what it was? They're both. I mean, and you realized. Granted, the coverage was different, right? Yeah. You didn't have the ESPN app, and you didn't get a chance to see these guys until then. But it was like, well, they're pretty special.
Well, Garrett was a first rounder out of high school, if you remember. So he was picked 30th by the Yankees, and he showed up to college. So he turned down $3 million. He was the hype guy, and then Bauer was making a name for himself. He had better stats that year than Cole did. He had more strikeouts and everything, and then obviously he became who he was, and his velocity picked up the next year in his first rounder and all that. So
we'll delve into what's going on in Major League Baseball in a few minutes. But being a former LSU Tiger and living here in Baton Rouge, I mean, this year, and I've seen you on the sidelines for some games and stuff. I mean, what was this like for you?
Dude, it's crazy. I'm not a huge football guy. Like, I grew up in Jersey, and I was basketball, baseball. My dad actually kept me away from football for that reason. Just bigger dude. He wanted me to play basketball and baseball. But just being down here, this atmosphere, LSU, the community, everything. It was just unbelievable this year, and you just felt it. And honestly, like I said, I wasn't even a huge football guy, and I didn't lock into all the plays, X's and O's. I watched all the games and everything, and I was a huge fan. But you just knew they were going to win this championship. Just the way they carried themselves, Joe's demeanor, obviously, the way the storybook was going. it was a no-brainer. It was just fun to be a part of this year.
Now, when you came to LSU and you played 08, 09, and 2010, you were here for the your freshman year. LSU wins a national championship in football.
Yeah.
And being that you weren't a big football guy, you can't help it, right? You got to be a football guy. 'Cause
Yeah.
Every
You're
Saturday
thrown
in the
into
fall,
it. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what we're doing.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
going to football
exactly. You're at
games
the
and
tailgates. Yeah, you're doing it all.
Did you become one? And who was your guy back then? Who was
100%. So it was funny. Like, I showed up on campus, didn't know too much about football, and then they were like, "Yeah, we do this on Saturdays." I'm like, "What do we do? Like, we just go and you just eat,
don't
you
do this
drink."
at Rutgers.
Yeah, we don't. No, 100%. I'm like, I didn't even know Rutgers did had football out, and
Right.
like we did this stuff. So yeah, they're drinking on campus. It was funny. It was just a real interesting concept to me. But Brandon LaFell, my freshman year, was in the weight room, and he would just, I don't know if we can curse on here, but give me so much crap, just like talking smack, in the weight room. And I didn't know how to handle it. I was, a kid from Jersey. I would just give it to him back a little bit, but he was about to be an NFL guy, and I was like, oh man, this is different. But it was just fun. He was my guy to watch. And then him and I actually developed a friendship, just going back and forth, giving that banter and stuff. And then Jared Mitchell, obviously one of my best friends, he was on the team and stuff. So I developed a friendship with LaFell. So he was my guy. Matt Flynn's always been a good, I've always enjoyed watching him, the way he carried himself, and then getting to know him a little bit after LSU has always been fun for me to follow.
Well, there's no question that it's been a minute, right? Like 2011, they win the SEC championship.
Wait, no, that was 07, my freshman year that I was just talking about, but 11 was different, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been a minute since we were, LSU was playing for a championship.
Right.
They hadn't won a championship, even an SEC West title since 2011. And in these parts, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the same division as Alabama, that might happen.
It's tough,
but it's been 7 years or 8 years since that season, and not only did they win the West, but they took everything. They took every award, it's a gluttony of riches that we're never going to see ever again.
Yeah.
And this is what everything is going to be compared to for the history of LSU football.
I know, it's kind of weird because now we're just set the bar high. Even just Coach O and his personality, I feel like just set the, it was just so comforting to LSU fans. It was just such a right fit. Joe just being the right guy, just the way he carried himself, winning the Heisman. It was just, and then like you said, all the other awards that we won that year. I remember I was doing a podcast with Jared Mitchell the night of the awards, and he was just getting all the alerts on his phone, another award. I'm like, this is insane. Like, we have to just finish off this championship now.
It's almost like, what do we do? What do we do for an encore, right?
I know, that's
like,
what I'm thinking.
Like it's next year's going to be somewhat disappointing. Although they'll celebrate the national championship, you got a great home schedule with Alabama,
you'll have
and
the
Texas.
Hype. Yeah, you'll have
coming,
the hype. But
but even if you have a great year and go 11-1.
It's a disappointment. It's like, what about last year?
We
didn't have a Heisman.
We only threw 25 touchdown passes this year versus 60. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's just going to be, there's going to be a hangover effect
100%.
for LSU fans, and just, you got to prepare for it, just like you do with a hangover. Take the Tylenol, take the Advil, drink a lot of water, because you're never going to see this again. And don't compare any other team to this team. It's just not fair.
It's not. But the one thing that I will take away that I think is going to be such like a silver lining of that, like from that concept and that storyline, is at least hopefully for the next 5 years, this bought us elite recruiting, right? At least we can hang our hats. We're going to get some good quarterbacks. We're going to get some good players now. And we've always had the athletes and the position players, the skills players. But now we're going to have some quarterbacks and probably going to, we've always had a top recruiting class, but I feel like recruiting should be elite for the next 5 years. So at least we can hang our hats on.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what LSU
talent.
ends up doing with defensive coordinator position.
That's really
Dave
interesting
Aranda
too.
for the last 4 years has been great, and he had such a good reputation. He was pretty widely considered a top 3 or 4 defensive coordinator in the country. Offensively, you're in a little bit of a situation. Is Ensminger going to stay? Will his role be the same? Who's the next Joe Brady? Because, negative recruiting is what it's all about.
100%.
So if you're anybody else in the conference, then you're recruiting against LSU. You say, hey, they're a one-hit wonder. All their people are gone. Their coaches left.
I didn't even
it's
think
over.
about that. Yeah.
So, you're going to have to combat that.
Yeah.
But 9 players leave early for the draft. Probably 7 of them should have. 2 probably shouldn't have. I was a little Sadiq Charles and I thought Phillips were 2 that maybe would have benefited by staying. You're just going to have to overcome that. Clemson and Alabama have to overcome that every year.
Absolutely. So that's the thing but I think, like I said, we just hopefully can hang our hats. Hopefully we get the right people in place, and hopefully we attract the right talent with the coaching staff. Now that we have proven that we've done it, we're fresh off the national championship. Hopefully we can get the right coaches in keep this system going.
You mentioned you and Jared Mitchell doing a podcast and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that. I know you've been kind of getting into that world for about the last year or so.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. I mean, I see guys like you, after baseball and just doing a great job in the community, and that's kind of what I just wanted to be a part of. I see you up in the suites at LSU football games, LSU baseball games, basketball games, everywhere. I mean, just being here in this community, being a part of it, that's really why we started it. And it was just access to people, and we have a network, so why not have interesting, valuable conversations and give back to the community that has supported us and been with us, so much. And then just going forward in life, living in Baton Rouge, I think it's cool to interact with your community and the people that made you who you are at LSU. And, like I said, we have the most unique fans at LSU baseball, so why not just give back to the community that was here? And that's how we started it, and it's been fun. And just taking things step by step.
One of the things that you're doing, you're giving back by getting people in shape, right?
That's it.
So what do we got coming up? Have the doors open yet? When
Not yet.
Open?
They're coming up in a couple weeks. We actually have our first pop-up workout. So we're talking about F45 training, and that's a fitness concept that I invested into, and I think it's going to be pretty cool concept here in town. And it's really centered around community. It really is. I know it sounds cheesy, corny, all that stuff. Fitness is what it is, and there's a bunch of pop-up fitness places that come up, boutique things. But this is functionally based, so it's movement patterns and which is the basis of all athletic movements. And it's in a fun 45-minute setting, class setting stuff. So you can kind of bring your friends, you can compete with them. You'll have heart rate monitors. There's innovative technology all around showing you where to go, different workouts. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. We got our first pop-up thing at Uncle Earl, so you can have a beer after your workout.
Uncle Earl's a little pop-up.
That's it. Yeah.
I've exercised a little bit at Uncle Earl's.
A lot of curls there. That's it. Right. Yeah. That's it.
So where is it P45?
F45. Yeah, it stands for functional 45 minutes. That's
functional
all right.
45. Where's it located?
It'll be on the corner of Bluebonnet and Highland, right where that new Lit and Izzo's is by that Chase Bank right there. Yeah.
Okay, I know where Lit is.
That's it, right? Hey.
All right, so you go to Lit, and then you go, and then
you go work out. Yeah, you just get your pre-bat. You play for the tie. That's what it's all about. We're here in Louisiana. We like to have a good time.
Do they have the cauliflower pizza crust? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. That's the whole point of the 45-minute workout. You can eat whatever you want after that.
No question. When are we thinking that the doors could open for something like that?
So February 1st, we're probably going to have our soft opening. Okay. So anybody who signed up for a free trial or a membership at that point will have two weeks basically free. Okay. No one else can kind of come in. You get to test out the facility, workouts, all those different things. And then grand opening will probably be right around Valentine's Day, February 14th, 15th, somewhere right around there.
F45. All right. So, Musso, you and I, man, we're going to go work out there. We're going to get in shape.
Let's go. Everybody come. We'll have a guaranteed media day, too.
Your good buddy and former LSU Tiger, Bo Didier, right?
Bo Didier is running the gym. Yeah. So I kind of owner-operator, but he's owner-operator-manager. He'll be the face-to-face. You know him.
The wiper of my sweat.
That's it. Keeping the gym clean, keeping everybody happy, giving people towels, waters, all that stuff. That
was great. Can't wait to. I'm excited for you guys, man. That's
awesome.
It's
gonna be cool. And it's like I said, everybody in here in town is it's a community thing. So it's an excuse to do things like Uncle Earl's. Like, hey, every Friday we're having a happy hour thing and get to have some beers with people in town afterwards and mix it up with the great people of Louisiana.
Hopefully you can put some good weight on BG.
That's it. He is too skinny. We need to get some weight on him. Yeah.
So, being that you're here and a former LSU player, obviously, and you got some friends that are on the LSU baseball staff, you're still close to the program, go to the games, keep up with the Tigers.
Yep.
Being a former pitcher, the word and the kind of the book on LSU baseball is if they're going to be as good as they want to be this year, it's going to be all about the pitching, and they got some good ones.
Dude, I'm excited about this year. I really am. I think, we had a few injuries, a couple of the studs last year and last couple of years with injuries, but they got some good arms this year. I'm really excited to see these guys come out. And I think, like I said, Cole Henry is one of my favorite guys that I've seen come through the program. I think the pitchability of Marceau, just watching him pitch just makes me, like, as a baseball fan, you just enjoy watching him pitch. His mixes, Jaden Hill's power stuff. I mean, then you got so many quality arms between Walker and Hilliard and just experience. And then you got Devin Fontenot, hopefully his injury is good. But, yeah, I mean, you just got – and then the stores –
AJ Labus is a guy that I like a lot.
I love Labus.
His velocity's up. His size is up. He's got a
his
nice
velo's
mix.
Up too?
Yeah.
He had a good fall.
His velo was when he was a freshman, he was living in that 85, 88 range. Right. Every once in a while touching 89. He was now living in that more 88 to 91, touch of 92 range.
If he can hover there, he's dangerous. He's nice. Right. I always liked his stuff. He can pitch. You have a bunch of guys. You have a good ability of guys to pitch and then power stuff too on this team. So it's a good mix.
Yeah, a lot. It's interesting. You didn't play all that long ago. I mean, your freshman year was on the 08 season when you won 23 games in a row and went to the College World Series. But you were considered a power guy, and you were kind of coming off of an injury your senior year in high school, and you didn't pitch till late in the year, your freshman year. but you were kind of like a 91, 93 guy.
Yeah.
That's like everybody now. And you were
it's kind of
low
like,
oh,
now.
the Ranaudo kids, 91, 93,
right?
you got to see this.
Hey, well, yeah, coming in at 91, 93, you were a guy.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
now
91,
like, hey,
all right,
next.
stock. Who else, you know? Like, was that a lefty, you know? Like,
Right.
what do we got? That's crazy. I was actually talking to Ochinko about that. I was like talking about it when we were working out this morning, and I was talking about throwing 96. I'm like, yeah, it's a good arm. I'm like, it depends. It's very, you know, nowadays, everybody throws 96.
Yeah.
It's wild, but
I remember in college that when a guy threw 93 to 95, we literally like it, and this is when we won 2 national championships in the early 90s. Guys would literally be in the dugout like, hey man, we got a guy throwing 93, 94. Like everybody'd be like top step, like
exactly.
oh, we got to go
watching.
Who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it just didn't happen. That often.
And when you were a pitcher coming in, or for me at least, like coming up, I was 88 to 92 a lot, and it was like, no, you really got to get that 93 to be drafted to get the big D1, like to do. I'm like, one more mount, 93, that's it.
Right.
But like, and looking back on it, it's like 93 now. Like, no, you got to be scraping. That's the
Well, you
bottom
got to
of the
be
barrel
living
now.
at 93.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's one thing to touch it. It's
No.
but you were living 88, 90,
Right.
touching.
And yeah, exactly.
They want you to live
93 bottom now.
Yeah,
like that's got to
I mean,
be your
that's-
floor average fastball now. It's crazy. It really is. So even for starting pitchers too, that's a crazy thing.
I knew things had changed when about 6 years ago I was doing a game for the SEC Network, and it was Georgia LSU, and I was talking to the coach for Georgia before the game, getting a scouting report on his starting pitcher.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we got a lefty, so-and-so. He's, 6'5", and, he's not your average, SEC Friday night guy. He's 88, 92, blah, blah. So well, I literally stopped him, and I said, well, wait a minute, coach. Did you just say that you have a 6'5" lefty who's 88 to 92, and he's below average Friday night SEC guy? I said, bro,
where's
I
the world
pitch nowadays? I
Where's
was
the world come from?
689, touch a 91 every once in a blue moon, lefty in college. Like, this is crazy that's the bar now, that it's like you got to be 90 plus on a Friday or forget about it.
Have you heard of this? I was just talking to somebody at Matulis' wedding the other day. One of the Will Davis, I think, told me this. Dudes are transferring from schools like their freshman year, like Western Kentucky, taking a drop year, and they go to Driveline and they do a whole year of training, and then go call coaches after a whole year of training and say, hey, I got my velocity up. Like, would you take me now? Like type thing. It's just to get some velocity and be like, I'm throwing 96 now. Now, do you have a spot for me?
But
it's insane.
It's as you know, it's better than anybody. It's not all about that.
No, it's definitely not.
I mean, granted,
that's what Will said, actually.
There are a lot of guys that nowadays, because there's so many guys that do throw 90 plus, there are a lot of guys that throw 93, 94, and you're like, oh man. And back in the day, if you threw 93, 94 and you could throw it over the white part, you were a first top 2-3 round pick.
Easy.
Okay.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to do that and other stuff.
93, 94, you better have command and another 2 pitches probably to be the guy.
It's not just about throwing hard. You still have to be able to throw other pitches and mix and throw strikes and down the zone and do all the things. And unfortunately, that gets lost in the shuffle. It's all about velocity.
Yeah.
And
especially at the college level too. That's what Will was like. I have a guy who's 78 to 82 as a lefty, and he gets outs, and he's a really, really good college pitcher. And he's like, you know what? He's going to play 4 years, and then he'll go get a job. He's not going to play professionally, but he was a really good college pitcher. Got a 4-year degree, like for free.
As opposed to somebody who's always in a lab,
right,
in a bullpen, pitches 15 innings, right, but hey, throw 95.
Yeah, he showed 95, 96.
How'd that work for you?
Exactly.
He's Anthony Ranaudo. You can check him out on Mondays from 4:30 to 5 on the Jay Ducote Show on Talk 107 in Baton Rouge. Pretty fun. What do y'all talk about?
So he's a food guy, obviously. So the first section that we talk about, it's actually, I got my own thing. It's called Cold to the Bullpen, with Anthony Ranaudo. We talk about lifestyle stuff, what I'm doing, a lot of F45, what I'm doing in the community, Baton Rouge. And then the next one is a food segment. So we just we do some fun stuff with food. He usually lifts off some
Talk
blogger.
about some restaurants.
Yeah, restaurants, different things in town. And I kind of proposed to him, I want to start talking about nutrition and stuff.
Have you done
and he was
Building
like,
5 yet?
No, actually, I'm eating there tomorrow night.
It's good.
You have to be like the 10th person that has told me Building 5.
Building 5's cool. The cool thing about Building 5, it's right there next to K Street, Kahlua Street Grill, underneath the Perkins Overpass, is if the weather's good and they're able to open up the outside window, because it's an inside-outside restaurant on the patio.
Okay.
So if the weather's good and they're able to open it up, that it changes the dynamic of the place. If you go there when the windows are closed and you can't eat outside, it's not as great. It's great. Not as great. It's a husband-wife combo. They're both interior decorators, so the place is really cool
nice.
and hip.
Yeah.
And they lived in San Diego and stuff, so you'll like it.
Yeah,
you'll like
good stuff.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We come back. I want to talk, Anthony. We're going to play a little clip for you. You didn't even know we're showing this. His first Major League Baseball strikeout came against
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. We'll show you that when we return on Sports Short.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rantz with Anthony Ranaudo, former LSU and Major League Baseball pitcher in the house, member of that 09 National Championship team, which, of course, starred Sports Shorts friend Buzzy Heidel. And, where would they be without Buzz? Your buddy Mikey Matuk got married this past weekend. Another one bites the dust.
I know, dude. It's crazy. I think there's only like 3 of my friends left that aren't married.
So you, Jay Mitch,
and Bo Didier, Ryan Verdugo. So 4 of us.
Okay, and but
Chinko's not married,
off the market.
Yeah, but he's off the market. He just proposed. He popped the question. So everybody's locked up. Yeah, even Jay Mitch is getting a 4-year relationship. So I mean, he's probably next. I just threw it out on the radio. That's right.
You did.
Okay, in case he hears that, he's going to be not happy.
Actually, this airs on TV in Lafayette.
Ooh,
And that's Jay Mitch's region.
damn.
So, New Iberia guy.
My bad, Jay.
But hey, it happens to the best of you.
That's it.
Just hadn't happened to me yet. We're talking with Anthony about LSU football last segment and all that. But you got drafted by the White Sox. Or no, Red Sox. Red Sox.
Yep,
Drafted by the Red Sox originally. After the 2010 season, and made it up to the big leagues, and this is really cool. We're going to play the clip. This is the first strike. Play it with sound as well. This is the first strikeout of your Major League career. Couldn't have came against a better player.
Ranaudo will turn 25 on the 9th of September. And strike 3 called over the outside corner. Jeter says something to Marquez and walks away shaking his head, but he's rung up.
That was a pretty good pitch.
So you can say
strike, right?
I mean, totally, Coach.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about?
I got it right
Like,
here on the
you
screen.
painted.
I mean, it started
outside
as a
corner.
strike too. It went on the middle.
Yeah.
It ran back middle. Look at the
Is
parents.
that Mom?
Mom's pumped. Yeah,
Dude,
Mom's
that's-
pumped. Little baby sister right there. Ange to the left over there. That's Pops.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is so great.
Dad's stoic.
Was that Dad always?
Yeah.
Just
No, that's interesting. That's why I'm like I forgot that he was not showing emotion, but yeah, it was Jeter was a big thing for us growing up. I grew up in Jersey, so
Sure.
I had the posters of Jeter all over my room. We were big Yankee fans, and just the way he carried himself, as an aspiring baseball player, Dad was always like, "This is who you want to be like. This is the guy. Like, this is who you want to model yourself after." So it was pretty surreal.
Where's that ball?
Mom's got it.
Mom's got the
Mom's
ball.
got it. Yeah.
Did you get Jeter to sign it?
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I was too much of a little girl like to ask him. So I was obviously in the clubhouse in his last game. Everybody's sending everything over there. And I literally just, I just was like, I'm a rookie. I shouldn't ask. Like, I don't know. Looking back on it, probably biggest thing, like one of the things I regret, But at 25, when you just struck out Jeter for your first strikeout, you think like, I'm going to be around the game for 20 years. Like,
I'll catch him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, literally.
Catch him at the player party at the World Series, whatever.
Just the ignorance, young ignorance. It's funny.
No, but that's a really cool moment. What is there one that stands out more than another?
I think that one probably stands out just because of what I just told you, the background, Jeter, the family, everybody being there. Jeter's last game was really cool. My mom came up for it. I wish my dad would have been there for it just to be there. But then I did hit a home run
with the White Sox.
Yeah, with the White Sox
Wrigley.
at Wrigley. That was really cool. That was, just if I don't ever play again, like that would be the thing that I hit a home run in the big leagues at Wrigley. Like, that's crazy. So
now a little birdie did tell me that you've been working out and the arms feeling good and the velocity is up there. And so give us a little insight on that.
Yeah. So I was doing some lessons with kids, here and there, and I was just doing some mechanics, found some things, shortened my arm action a little bit, lengthened my stride. Arm felt good, and I started bumping my velo up. And so, I threw a bullpen a couple weeks ago in front of some scouts, and I was 93, 96. So in my last year in Korea, just for context, I was like 87, like average 87, just in my last year of playing. So it was one of those things where I was like, oh, okay, this is different. I'm making some changes. I took some time off, got my mind right. So one of those things, maybe take a different approach to it and not have baseball be the end-all, be-all, and just have some fun with it and maybe play another year or two.
So what do the scouts say to you?
So I threw at the end of November, early December, and they were like, look, you checked every box for where we are right now. You're healthy. Ball's coming out well. I didn't have very good command, I'm going to be honest. So they were like, look, we'll probably just have to follow up in January, February when everybody's signing, and obviously you haven't played in 2 years. So probably sign a minor league deal or something like that and come to minor league camp. And I was like, perfect. That's all I want. I believe that's it. I believe in myself again. I have this right, and now my velocity's back. Just give me a chance. I don't care where it is. And even if I have to start an independent ball, I'm okay with that. I really am.
So it sounds like you're giving yourself one more year.
One more year. I just want to see it through. And just because, like I said, just the mental side of things and having the ball come out the way it is now and just learning the things I did and just having a different perspective on the game, I think is different.
So are you about 30, 31?
I just turned 30, yeah.
30,
so
okay.
Yeah, I got some time. We'll see.
All right. Well,
I've heard crazier stories in baseball.
No,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's great. And the command. How often do you throw a bullpen? Weekly?
Yeah, weekly. Yeah. Okay. So I've taken some time off just with the F45 opening. I traveled a little bit, but yeah, I pretty much throw weekly bullpens, maybe twice. Yeah, and I long toss and throw every day, just like I was training and everything. So. Yeah.
And do you work any with AD? Do you work on your own? Like who's in your core group?
Yeah, so I work with AD every now and then. I work with Nolan Kane a lot. So him and I work a lot. I work a lot with my mechanics with Micah Gibbs and John Hemel. And my guy Robbie Bolton over at Evolve Physical Therapy is obviously my physical therapist. Anna Couture and Corey Couture take care of me, with soft tissue work and everything, and some of the biomechanical stuff.
You do the dry needling at all?
I do. Robbie does a lot of dry needling on me.
Some of that on my feet.
You like it?
Plantar fasciitis. It helped.
Yeah,
it definitely helped.
It's very, very good for releasing a lot of that tension. Yeah, I like dry needling. Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, we're going to be looking forward. 12:02. What, Nathan? One more minute. All right, just I'm totally like
before we get kicked out of here.
Close.
Yeah,
I don't want to just go off the air.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. So, where can folks follow you on social media?
Yeah, so just at Anthony Ranaudo or at Anthony_Ranaudo, Ranaudo. It's pretty much all my handles, and yeah, that's good.
All right, well, really cool stuff. We'll be seeing you at the box.
That's it. I'm always there. Yeah.
The cool thing about baseball, it starts on the 14th of February. You end up in minor league camp, the first week of March. You get a chance to check out a few weeks
I'll be here.
Before you head out, so you get to see Anthony. Really excited about F45, man.
Yeah, come check it out, man. We'll love to have you guys, and love to have you in there whenever you want.
I don't want you to make me too sore.
No, we got you. We'll take it easy. 1 day, 2 days off, we'll do it. We got you.
All right, Anthony Ranaudo, former LSU pitcher and major league pitcher, who may be a major league pitcher again.
Hopefully.
We'll follow him in 2020. Exciting story. Go check him out at F45 over there on Bluebonnet and Highland. Special thanks, of course, to Drew Alleman, former LSU kicker, who was a part of that 2011 SEC championship team. And it has just been a magical week as the Tigers went from the White House to the PMAC, and it's over. And now let's all enjoy and get ready for 2020. Have a good one, everybody.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Joe Horn, Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.